Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast Backstage episode. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Nice to have you join us. And I sub my like the subtext name for this is Chick Chat
Mhm.
because the girls get to have a schmooze, and that's kind of nice.
It is nice.
I suppose we could put out the invite if anybody out there wants to identify as a chick in any fashion whatsoever. Basically, if you want to have a schmooze with us, let us know.
Yeah, talking
Pour
about
the
everything and
coffee, and
anything.
right.
Uh huh.
Listen, a little schmooze is always good. How's it been going? What's new?
Well, let's see. Toddlerhood is new and fun.
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna write a play called you know, Epic Meltdown, and
Epic.
just be all about all the random meltdowns and the question of why they start and what causes them, and who knows.
I always joke that's probably why I never did have kids because my mother wished one like me on me. Maybe she wished two or three. I don't think I was up to it. Yeah, but your daughter's so cute.
She is amazing in every way, and you just have to breathe, use your training as an actor. Let's think about motivation here. What do I want? How do I get it?
Yeah, that a lot of good training to chill too. We
Yes.
talked about that, what, a week or so ago. What do you do backstage to calm it down?
Yeah.
And, and it's funny, I'm working on getting my certification as a health coach. And sure, I'm going to troll for some business, but seriously, in the class I was just in, they pair you up, and one of the classmates wanted to know, we talked about not bringing your stuff into the consult, and she's like, "Well, how do you do that?" I said, "Well, first of all, it's very clear. My stuff is not your problem."
Mm.
And it's like stage or being on the news, but when you get to the theater, and maybe we'll talk about this a little more with our audience, but when you get to the theater, if you had a really bad day,
Yeah.
you got to leave it at the stage door, because if you bring it, even if you bring it into the costume, the dressing room, and
Mm-hmm.
you're sharing it, the dressing room with somebody. Now, the most infectious thing isn't a cold or COVID, it's a bad attitude.
Absolutely. I was told you pack your bag, and when you get to the stage door, you drop it off, and you're like, all right, I'll see you later, bag. Go and do your thing, and then pick it up on the way out.
Precisely. And the gal just thought that was such a novel concept.
Hmm.
But I pretty much said the same thing, Ellen. Just stow it.
Yeah.
It's got no place, right?
No, no.
So if anybody else has any ideas, drop us a note. But, the worst is if it starts hollering at you once you've walked away.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really? No, I don't think so. Boyfriend, down. So a lot of good stuff going on. What's so exciting with the theaters, starting to reopen.
Yes.
And
It's
many of them we've interviewed leading up to this. Curtain Call is getting ready. They starting to, they were announcing their season, and there was a sale. The Fort Salem Theater, Jay Kerr had it for more than a decade. He recently sold it, and the new fellas who have it are doing the Marvelous Wonderettes in the end of June into July, and that'll be followed by Next to Normal. So, if you jump online, you'll see how the creative aspect of seating people, Ellen,
oh, yeah. It's a
right?
whole new thing.
Really is. And then locally, you've been talking with the folks at Confetti Stage.
Yeah, so I'm going to be directing Servant of Two Masters this summer, which is very exciting. We've got auditions coming up May 16th and 17th. So if you're a listener and you want to have a fun time, because it's a super goofy show, and it's a really fun adaptation with music, and it's just going to be such a blast. And it's going to be outdoors in August. So, that alleviates some of our concerns. Hopefully, we'll have a fully vaccinated cast. That's my goal. And we'll all get back on stage and have a fun time. It's been really great for me to just been going through the script and figuring out blocking and beats and all that, and it's like going home.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes. You were concerned, though, about the title, weren't you?
We were very much concerned about the title. What happened is back when we were going to do it in the summer of 2019, it was brought to our attention by a venue we were looking at that potentially the words servant and master were problematic. Um, and so we really had to take a sit down and think about that. And we had to really research where the terms came from, their use today in different cultures, and so forth. And we actually sat down with Remy from the Black Theater Troupe and had a great conversation with him to get some insight from members of the Black community to kind of see their thoughts on those terms. And it was a
Hmm.
really great conversation. And essentially, the consensus between us and the people we talked to were, the play, the title is okay. It's just how it's marketed needs to be very careful, and how it's presented in the cast and in the play itself, being sensitive of that. And that's, in all honesty, is something I didn't even think of. When the play came up, I've known the play for so long, I didn't hesitate to think, oh, maybe we need to consider these terms. But
Hmm.
I think that's something really important going forward, looking at all these classic plays, what is the modern takeaway from them, and do some adjustments need to be taken in light of things that we've learned as a society?
And I think it's such an opportunity for us to learn
Hmm.
and to grow.
Yeah.
And I think when we do that and you look at it differently, the conversation, you might never have had that conversation with Remy. Though goodness knows any chance we have to talk to Remy, you
It's a
take.
delight.
But look, I know there's the naysayers and they want to, holler out cancel culture. That's not the point here at all. The
Hmm.
point is to embrace and to expand and to be understanding and sensitive and to learn, right?
And to listen too,
Mm,
like, if it did make me pause. My first instinct was, wait, what's wrong with the title? I don't get it. But then thinking, wait a minute, okay, let's really delve into this and think, is there a problem? How much of a problem? Can we address it? What can we do
hmm.
to let the public know all the thought we've put in and the decision we've made, and all
Yeah.
that?
Can't wait
Yeah.
to see it.
I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. I still have one more virtual coming up. And I think we've talked about it. Byron Nilsson, a local playwright, Girl with the Camera, and the Two of Us productions down in Claverick are doing that. And it's going to be virtual. So
Mm-hmm.
my fingers are crossed that it's the last virtual show
Yeah.
that I do and that we're back, feet on the stage and sing out Louise, right?
Yeah.
Um, and see how that goes. I think everybody's anxious for that. We talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about Park Stage Company, and they're doing I Love You, You're Perfect Now Change at the Co's Music Hall. They sold out so fast. Granted, it's limited seating. They've already added a third weekend, and I wouldn't be surprised they put a fourth weekend on. And
Mm-hmm.
now they've crafted how they'll do the theater in the summer at Washington Park, and they're doing Eight Misbehaving, and auditions for that are coming up. So
Nice.
jump on the Park Playhouse website if that's a show that appeals to you. And Charlene Woodard, who is an Albany High graduate, was in the production in New York. And it may have been, if my memory serves correctly, the original production. So it's a great small show, fabulous music, very timely for now, and some lovely Albany connections. So hi thee to the audition.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so excited. I mean, just to see people, at the audition, that's already making
Oh,
me excited, let alone the
oh,
project itself.
that's great, Ellen. I'm so thrilled. I can't wait to see it already. Uh,
Yeah.
How many in the cast?
There are 12 in the cast, so it's sizable. But
Hmm.
but yeah.
And what if someone's not and chooses not to be vaccinated? How are you
You,
going to handle that?
it was a conversation. It was we thought, is it a requirement to be in the cast to be vaccinated? And I said, I don't want to make it a requirement per se. This was also a few weeks ago when you couldn't just walk in now to get, a shot. Um, and kind of for me personally, I feel like if you are actively saying, I'm not going to get vaccinated, I personally don't really want you in the cast. No offense, but we have to think about everyone's safety, including the person who's not vaccinated. I mean, they're the person at most risk, and
Hmm.
it is a very ensemble show, a lot of physicality, and I think it would just make everybody feel so much more confident and able to move forward with a
Yeah.
fully vaccinated cast.
Drop us a note if you're listening. Do you want to be on stage with folks who aren't vaccinated? Have you made a decision in your life about being vaccinated? We'd love to hear because this is a conversation that is going to go on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see going, how we are going forward. And then there are the casts where they rehearse masked, and then everybody gets unmasked. And I don't quite understand that. You either are or you aren't. And there's so much to audition for right now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting, casting notices, you know, up to the top of my head if you're on Backstage, but they are all very clear. You're going to come in for a COVID test.
Yeah.
We test and we test and you're masked, and by the way, we test and are you vaccinated, but they're not playing because nobody wants to get closed down again.
No, it's not worth the risk. We've waited so long. Don't want to mess it up at this point.
Have you picked something to go see yet, Ellen?
Uh, well, I'm gonna see I Love You, You're Perfect Now Change. So that'll be my first show to see back in the theater.
Mhm.
Um,
I think we're going the same day. You're catching the early and I've got the evening show.
right, yeah. Yeah, but in terms of like, because I always do a New York trip with my mom to the city, and I have to see what opens and when.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things I wanted to see.
My cousin and I go every year. I'm playing with my color here. I still don't like the color on the there. All right, we're back to that. Yeah. If you're listening only, I'm playing with the color on my lights. Um, we always go in January, so I got a little bit more time.
Yeah, yeah,
Can you try to get over to the Berkshires?
maybe. Yeah, it would be nice to get up there.
Yeah,
I still haven't
that
seen anything up there, so I need to get
ever?
never.
Girl, we're taking a road trip.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, you're listening. We're taking a road trip.
Oh, and we have to go down and see Man of La Mancha down at oh no, what's the name? We interviewed him recently.
Bridge Street?
Yes, right?
No,
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 no, no,
sorry, not
no,
Bridge
no.
Street.
Sorry, at McHayden.
McHayden, thank you.
Yes,
Yes, yes,
I am my Don Quixote.
yeah.
I love listening. You're driving in the morning. Whoever's driving behind me must think that I've just really lost my marbles, which, I'll be singing and moving the arms around. And
I have a line of theater posters up my stairs, and when my daughter climbs it, when she was young, and I would carry her up the stairs, I would always sing to her random songs that were on the wall. And now she goes up the stairs, but she pauses and she looks and points, and she always points at the Man of La Mancha poster. So on the way up the stairs, we had to sing "I Don Quixote."
that's fabulous. So we had a fun time with the question this week, with the
Yes.
official question. We asked folks if you ever had to do an intimate scene with somebody that, yuck. And I had shared that I did, and the actor, sadly, he's no longer on this earth, and forgot that it was acting, and I was not going to be his girlfriend. Let's leave it at that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's and that's a huge, huge issue. which is why there's now intimacy coaches,
Yeah.
which I think a lot of people aren't aware of what that is, but it's a very important person to come in and essentially talk the actors through intimate scenes to make sure that it's appropriate and that the actors are comfortable. Because I think a lot of us have been in a situation where we've had to kiss an actor or something, and the director just goes, "Okay, yeah, now you kiss," and it's like there's no
Right.
communication, and it's a very vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah. When I was a freshman in college, we did The Balcony by Genet, which, if you haven't read it, treat yourself. It is way out there. And I was the madam of the whorehouse. And they didn't come more virginal at college than moi. You've heard of the Scarlet A. I was wearing the blue V, I'm telling you. And you're right. And my dearly departed mother went to her grave thinking I was in a full slip. No, but I had to kiss. My character kissed a woman,
Mm.
and the director was he was intense. We did exercises so that we'd all be comfortable with each other. Bear with me here. So he'd get you on the floor and he goes, "Ride, ride. I want to hear sounds of sexual excitation." Now, remember, I went to school with the blue V, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I can't believe I'm going to tell this story." You make noise? Okay. Oh Lord. And I somehow I impressed him enough to get cast in the lead role. And one of the gals who didn't get the role, she's a professional actress, and she was in Lady House Blues. She originated one of the roles. I watched her on Desperate Housewives. To this day, I think, I don't know if it's good or bad that I beat her out for that role, but I had to kiss a woman.
Mm.
And given his interesting way of directing and warming us up for it, I think he thought we were all primed. But she was a woman that I really respected, and she was a great actress. And what could have been an uncomfortable situation, because I'm kissing somebody on stage, and was so organic
Yeah.
that I remember it being I probably, looking back, we probably should have been directed better,
Yeah.
but he allowed it to be organic. He never said, "Okay, you're going to kiss today."
Mm, mm-hmm.
He let it come out of the rehearsal process.
Yeah.
So a little odd in some regards, but very, um, I'll just go with the word organic. I think that's, like you say, some directors say just kiss, but I think it has to grow any
Yeah.
intimacy on stage.
It does. It does. And it's funny. Like you. I can't believe I'm going to share this story, but we're talking about people we can't stand on stage. I think it's also an interesting situation when you really like that person. I've had my number of stage crushes, and in college, I hadn't had a boyfriend or anything. I was very inexperienced and had my first like love scene. And we get a lot of notes from the director, like, "Okay, you guys, we can't hear you. You need to be, or no, sorry, the vocal coach would say, we need to be louder. You need to project more. We can't hear you." And then the director would say, "No, no, no. I want this to be really intimate. Bring it down." So we were really confused, and we would rehearse the scene a lot, and we would take it into our own hands. And so he would come along and say, "Hey, Ellen, you want to go work on that scene?" I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go."
Oh, yeah, but and then in a sense, that's the line we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, sure, you crushed on them, but you knew to stop. And
Yeah.
sometimes people don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where the intimacy coach comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne
Mm-hmm.
Perry's doing that work,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the local celebrated actress. And it's critical.
Yeah. I would love to bring her back on and talk about that for an episode.
Yeah. Hello, Yvonne. We're reaching out soon. Yeah. So you want to take a look? Some of these were, you could just feel it. I do have a fave in here, and I bet yours is sort of the same as mine.
Well, my
And, oh,
my
it's the first one.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine was the first one, from the lovely Katie Weinberg, who was the first person to cast me in the Capital District. It was my first
Oh,
play here, and I did not know this story. I love her and her husband. My very first onstage kiss was with this guy, and neither one of us liked the other. We basically just tolerated each other. He thought I was bossy and annoying because I kept shushing everyone backstage, and I thought he was arrogant and loud. But because we had to kiss on stage, I thought we should practice off stage. The day after the show closed, he texted me that he didn't think I was really all that bad. And lo and behold, we have been married for almost 8 years and are expecting our first child in August.
that is just the best,
It's like a Hallmark movie.
right? I found my love on stage.
And I
Stay
couldn't stand him
tuned.
at first.
Katie, we love you guys. Then Steve says, got through it because we were both pros. And given the resistance of one of the characters in the plot to giving in, our vague mutual animosity actually added a layer of frisson to our onstage interactions. Hey, you take what you've got and you make it work for you. Bravo. But Steve Patterson, not everybody could do that.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Some people can't keep that professionalism for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Let's see. Ryan says, we were young at the time, 18 and 19. So talking about professionalism. But we were professionals and even helped one another along through it. The scene was fantastic.
It was a real wonderful growing experience. I love John Romeo says, so I won't name names, but I had to be in love and kiss someone whom I didn't even speak to off stage. It was so awkward.
I can't imagine that
Oh,
situation.
John, bless you. But that's being a pro.
Yeah, it really is.
But that's really,
Yeah, I
yeah,
feel like that would just take the joy out of performing if you just can't even talk to that actor,
right?
and then have to
Mm,
be in love with them. Oh, weird.
mm.
Shaban says, in The Elephant Man, there was a scene where my character strips for the Elephant Man. To get past the awkward stage, I would draw dirty jokes onto the pasties covering my nips. I successfully broke my scene partner 2 times. My favorite, I remember, wasn't that bad. It just said boo on the right and a picture of a bee on the left.
Whatever gets you through the night, right?
Yeah.
Ryan, we love Ryan Palmer, and he says, I shan't say names. Of course, he would write that, right?
No.
And it wasn't me, but I was in a production of Guys and Dolls in college, and our Sky Masterson and Sarah Brown were kind of a thing. But then they had a bad breakup in the middle of the run. And at the scene where Sky kisses Sarah and gets slapped, Sarah hauled off and slapped him so hard he had a print on his face the rest of the show.
Ooh,
That's just not professional. It's
no,
just not cool all the way
no,
around.
no, that's not cool. Yeah. As you said, right? We said you have to leave your baggage at the door. And in that moment, you are Sky and Sarah. You're not,
Susie and Jimmy.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Sean says, I've been lucky. I've gotten along really well with all my onstage partners. Anyone who had intimate scenes with have been cool and professional. Chalk it up to having great castmates and directors.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lori says, as Sky Vogel can attest, our Curly and Lori in Oklahoma were not the best of friends. Our Curly was quoted as saying, kissing actress is like kissing a brass doorknob. Dude,
Ouch.
it's that we're this is not you're not meeting your it's not a Friday night at the bar after 3 drinks.
Right. And saying that kind of thing around to the rest of the cast just adds so much hostility and ugh.
I would have packed up a doorknob and given it to him as a closing night gift on those cold nights, here you
Yeah.
go, babe. I just,
Yeah.
mm,
Elizabeth said, I did Tally's Folly with an actor who was a real horn dog. When they kiss, he wanted things to get very porny very fast. I absolutely did not do that. No matter what, I dodged that bullet. And I didn't care how he reacted as a person because the character is such that he had to remain sweet and calm and a little confused. He was a super duper accomplished Broadway guy, so he fulfilled the role, and I remained sort of virginal.
bravo.
Bravo. Yep, absolutely.
You know, bravo. Sandra writes, back before the first moonwalk, I was playing Maxine Falk in a college production of Williams' Night of the Iguana. Maxine has a yen. You know this role. Maxine has a yen for the Reverend T. Lawrence Shannon, who has no interest in her. But while the actor playing Shannon was handsome, hunky, and talented, he simply didn't do it for me. To ameliorate the situation, I imagined another man, just under 6 feet, blue eyed, fair skinned, nimble of wit, and essentially mysterious. Imagine my surprise when I found that exact priest on the pulpit of the last Episcopalian church I belonged to. By the way, I was no longer in Maxine's headspace, so both he and I were spared displaced emotional impropriety. Oh my word. I wonder if she'd seen him from afar,
I feel like maybe, yeah.
right?
It sounds like
That one's wild.
that would hit you. Woo! Hello.
Where'd you come from? My mind.
Let's see. Iris says I had to kiss my co-star in a production of The Three Sisters. He had bad breath.
Mm. Oh, what do you do then?
Yeah, I think that's one of those where like backstage, put some gum in your mouth and go, oh, would you want any? And then hope they accept.
True that. We take the next one.
Let's see, Diana. I was in the Papa scene in Oliver, sitting on a lap when the guy got funny and put his hands where they didn't belong. At first, I figured it was a mistake, but it happened again. Don't ever tell your husband something like this because his solution will be, well, don't sit there. So I mentioned the situation to the director, who asked if I wanted her to talk to him. I thought it over and decided to handle it myself. As we got into position for that scene, I quietly said to him, you may put your hands on my shoulders or hips or waist and nowhere else. No problems after that.
Bravo, because
Yeah.
it could have gone south.
I'd say it is so easy to not say anything. I have a similar story. It's a little bit different because it wasn't a love scene, but I was doing a production where there was tension between two characters. They start arguing, and it was blocked in such a way that there was no physical contact between me and my fellow actor. And as we went through the run, it was, a longer run,
Mm-hmm.
and he started to put his hand on my arm. And every night it would just get a little harder and a little harder and a little harder to the point that I was getting bruised from him grabbing my arm.
Oh.
And I just didn't say anything. He was the artistic director of the company. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I can't say anything. And then one night, randomly on stage, he got to that point, and instead of grabbing my arm, he literally grabbed my throat and squeezed. And
Ellen.
it freaked me out. And at that point, I did talk to the fight coordinator, and he talked to him. And I look back and I say, I wish I had known what I know now of like even just grabbing the arm. That's not okay. There are boundaries, things like that. Any kind of physical contact
Mm-hmm.
on stage has to be consented and
Mm-hmm.
understood between those two people.
Right.
And the pressure of like, oh, I don't want to step toes on this fellow actor or this artistic director or this director or whoever it is, it doesn't matter. When you're on stage, you have to protect yourself.
Yeah. It's in, and you have to ask permission.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of summers ago, I was doing ragtime, and it was appropriate. I was Emma Goldman to pat Tata's daughter on the head.
Mm.
Wonderful young actress. I said to her, would it be all right if I patted you on the head?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, that's okay. Wonderful, wonderful actress. Really, I mean, the kid was, but you've got to.
Yeah.
I think there's that element of uncomfortable surprise
Mm-hmm.
about being touched when you don't know it's going to happen, or to expect it,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Years ago, I saw Private Lives in New York, on Broadway
With
with,
Alan Rickman.
I'm sorry?
With Alan Rickman.
No, this
Oh.
was with Burton and Taylor.
Oh.
And you go to see them,
Mm-hmm.
and they were working some stuff out between them. They were long divorced, but there's the scene where he spanks her.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I Something had to have transpired because he spanked her, and she went to get up, and he got an extra lick in, and everybody laughed because he did the wink with the audience.
Mm.
And then he spilled some water, and she goes to clean it up in his lap and makes a big thing of it. And while both were amusing on one hand, it was uncomfortable
Yeah.
for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it goes back to just what you said, Ellen. Put it in the bag.
Yeah.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it at the door.
And when I was in Chicago, and my story was in Chicago a few years after that, there was a big movement called Not in Our House. And it was all about intimacy on stage, touch on stage, and was calling out theater companies that were not adhering to appropriate rules. And they set rules and shared it throughout the community of like, this is what is expected in a show. And if it's not happening, then there need to be places where actresses can talk to
Hmm.
someone and get it sorted out. And theater companies, a really big theater company, shut its doors almost immediately after that happened, because all of a sudden all these stories started coming out about the artistic director being incredibly inappropriate with people for years and years and years, and
Yeah.
everyone felt so threatened because of his power in the company that
Sure.
they
Well, look
didn't
at
want
this
to.
whole Scott Rudin story.
Yeah, exactly.
Me Too, and it's still going on. Actors' equity is very clear
Hmm.
about just call it an appropriate policy. But again, people are afraid.
Yeah.
There's still, I think there's still a level of fear.
Hmm.
You're like, oh yeah, if I say something, and women are always branded. You're either brash or you're the other B word.
Right.
Somehow, y- and then if you're not one or the other, then you get walked on. It's very hard to walk the middle line, to stand up for yourself.
Yes.
Uh, I think anytime you stand up for yourself, it's appropriate, but
Hmm.
the world doesn't always see it that way.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like there needs to be so many more conversations with directors, artistic directors, the people in more leadership roles of, you need to understand like what these people under your direction and under your guidance are going through. And that's why every single show I direct, I have a conversation first day of like, if you don't feel comfortable with something someone else is doing or someone else says, come to me. If you have an issue with me, go to this person. It's very
Right.
clear from the get-go of, none
Yeah.
of that's going to be tolerated. Everyone in this room is going to feel respected and comfortable at all times.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. And
Yeah.
again, as you're listening, if you want to let us know your thoughts, we just find us on the Facebook page, and drop us a note. Let us know what you've experienced and how you think it's been handled, and how it could have been handled better.
Yeah.
But this is, we're not, you can't be playing anymore.
No. Yeah.
This is a profession.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, it's not brain surgery, but you know what? Nonsense goes on in operating rooms and as well. You know, not maybe not in the room, but in halls.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hall where people gather to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stick with the word professional.
Yeah.
You know, as we're talking, I pulled up Williamstown Theater Festival. You know, is out this summer. Rediscover the power of live theater with a season of 3 world premieres, unlike anything you have experienced before. We got to get them on,
Yeah.
don't you think?
I think so. That sounds great.
Yeah, we'll definitely give them a jingle and get them on. There's, let's see, front lawn, outside. I'm just looking at some of the things. There's a lot of great stuff. Dorset has you know, nice season. So I think, I know I just pivoted us, but I think there's a nice season for theater goers. I don't know if everybody will be able to get a seat
Yeah.
unless, but there are still people who aren't ready to go back also.
That is true. It would be really interesting, especially the indoor theaters, to see what the outcome is.
Yeah. Last summer, wild horses couldn't have gotten me there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This summer, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vaccinated, masked. I'll eat my popcorn outside.
Yeah.
And by the by, okay, can we dish a little bit, Ellen?
Oh yeah.
So the last show we had with a guest was Jay Bobbin. Adored Jay Bobbin. He was right. The father,
Anthony Hopkins.
yes, won for Best Actor. He thought that was going to be. He called it.
Yeah.
Um, was that show a snore with capital letters and italics?
It was awful. It was so bad. I was I was joking with my brother, and I were texting through the whole thing. He's a big movie buff, and I was saying, for me, one of the weirdest things is normally the lesser known categories of, best documentary or, animated short and all those. Usually they bring up images from the movie so you can kind of get a feel and a quick 10-second,
Hmm.
glimpse. And there was none of that for those categories. It was only like best picture. And so I was like, have they lost the ability to show pictures? Like, why do they just have the camera on the nominees looking kind of, bored? And he's like, well, wouldn't you rather know what kind of candy they like? And I was like, yeah, it was so
It was awful.
odd. It was really odd.
I mean, there was poor Laura Dern, you know, doing her best to be gracious and sincere, talking about each of the nominees for Best Supporting. But oh, come on, can we just see them perform? It all
Yeah.
sounded so gratuitous.
Yeah, it really did. And then you got the weirdest decision of the night, in my opinion, was announcing Best Picture third from the end. And I was
Right?
like, I thought we had accidentally fast forwarded on our DVR or something. I was like, what happened to Best Actor, Best Actress?
Right?
That was bonkers for me. It was a very strange way to end the show, especially because
And
Anthony Hopkins wasn't there.
right? And this was supposed to be a throwback to Hollywood. Was I think it was a throwback to what were you thinking? And the answer is always you aren't.
Yeah.
But no, I think, look, I did a quick survey, clearly not scientific, of viewers. Are you going to watch? And if, let's say, I had 200 people respond, five said they were going to watch.
Wow.
Pretty much nobody was interested. A lot of folks are not interested because they're political. And the feeling is, I just want to tune in for entertainment.
And there was no entertainment at all.
No.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you're listening, Ellen and I are available next year.
I say bring back the host, like I know they've gone wrong a few years with their
Yeah.
host pick, but I would like a host back.
You know, Tina Fey,
Yeah.
right? Definitely Billy Crystal. He
Billy
slams it.
Crystal. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so anyway, we just need a little bit of dish.
we did.
So coming up pretty soon, if you're in the theater and you'd like to get a little more attention, we're going to start selling some advertising space here.
Yeah.
So you can buy in the wings. We'll, let you know about that. And or let it give us a holler. And again, you can always find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We are ubiquitous.
Oh, and should we think of a question for next time, or do we need
We
to
threw
percolate on it?
we kind of threw out a couple.
Yeah.
Um, did any of that linguine stick on the wall? Mm, let's talk a little bit about maybe, do you think do you want to be in a cast where everybody's vaccinated? If they required that, would you sign on, or would you want to say to them, dude, I act, you can't tell me about vaccines? Um,
And maybe what level of comfort do you have on stage? Are you willing to kiss someone on stage this season?
yeah, you know, um, rehearsing. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that stuff, the
Yeah,
precautions, and okay, have at it.
sounds good. All right, everybody. Well, we'll catch that in 2 weeks' time, and otherwise, we'll catch you next time.
That's right. We got a guest coming up for you in the in between week, but you're going to have to tune in to find out who it is.
Woo.
And keep teaching your daughter all the tunes.
Will do. We do need to get more show tunes in our because we don't drive. That's the thing. When I drive, I play musicals, but
Yeah.
we haven't gotten to
Just
those.
put her
So
in the car, drive around the corner for 20 minutes.
yeah.
I know that's not a green thing. Don't come down on me, folks. Until next time, I hope you all take care, enjoy, and I'm Benita Zahn.
I'm Ellen Cribbs. See you next time.